Hi, I'm here to talk to you today about partial products. I apologize for the camera, it's kind of pointed up there, so I may be looking down a little bit, but that's okay. So I wanted to talk to you about partial products today because partial products is really important in multiplication to understanding why multiplication works the way it does, especially the more complex multiplication problems. For example, like 473 times, let me move this camera a little bit, 473 times 94. Now, when we think about multiplication, what we need to do is treat each individual place value as a separate number. So, for example, the 3 is 3 because it's in the ones place, the 7 is 70 because it's in the tens place, and the 4 is 400 because it's in the hundreds place. Same thing with the other factor. The 4 is in the ones place, so we think of it as 4, and the 9 is in the tens place, so we think of it as 90. So when we do the partial products method, what we're doing is we are multiplying the ones times the ones, the tens, and the hundreds. Then we're going to multiply the tens times the ones, the tens, and the hundreds, and find the sum of all those add-ins, which will give us our actual product. Hence the name partial products, because you're finding 6 products, adding them up to become a sum, and that is actually your product. I know it sounds a little confusing, but as I show you the steps, you should understand. So the first step is to take 473 and think about multiplying 4 ones times 3 ones. Right here, and so I wrote it right there, 4 times 3. Then you take the 4 ones times the 7 tens, which is 70. So we have 4 times 3, then 4 times 70. Then you have the ones place times the hundreds place, which is 4 times 400. Then you take the tens place. We move on to the tens place. The tens place, which is the value, has a value of 90. 90 times 3 is our next multiplication problem. We then multiply our tens place times our tens place, which is 90 times 70. And finally, we take our, it's kind of my first time here. We take our tens place times our hundreds place, which was 90 times 400. Now, the students have been working on using basic facts to do mental math. And you should be able to see on here, up and down, that there are basic facts that are going to be able to be used. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. So once you've come up with all your multiplication problems, then you actually do the multiplication for each of the partial products. You start off with 4 times 3, which is a basic fact, which equals 12. Then you have 4 times 70. Now what I've told the students is the best way to do this is to put down your 0 first, and then using the basic fact of 4 times 7, put that in after. So the 0 goes in the ones place, and then you do 4 times 7, which equals 28, so your answer to 4 times 70 is 280. With 4 times 400, now we have 2 zeros that we need to place. One in the ones place, and one in the tens place. Then we multiply 4 times 4, which is 16, and that's 1,600. Next, we move to 90 times 30. With 90 times 30, we have 1 0 in the ones place. Then we multiply 9 times 3 to get 270. Like I said, it's very helpful to place the zeros first before trying to do the basic fact. That way you don't get the zeros and the other digits confused. We move on to 90 times 70. 90 times 70, you have 2 zeros in your multiplication problem. Place those 2 zeros in the ones and the tens place, then multiply 9 times 7, you get 63 for an answer of 6,300. And finally, we take 900 times 400, which has 3 zeros. We place those in the ones, the tens, and the hundreds place, and then we multiply our basic fact 4 times 9, which is 36. Once you have found all of the partial products, you then simply add, using column addition, all the different things. So you can see in the ones place we have 2 plus 5 zeros, which is 2. In the tens place, we have 1 plus 8, which is 9. Plus 7 is 16. So we keep the 6, we carry the 1 into the hundreds place. We have 1 plus 3 is 3, or excuse me, pardon me, 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 2 is 11, plus 3 is 14. We keep the 4, carry the 1, 1 plus 2 is 2, plus 6 is 8, plus 6 is 14. We keep the 4, carry the 1, 1 plus 3 is 4, for a total product of 44,462. Now many of you, and I'm speaking to the parents now, many of you probably learned this in a different way. I know I did. I never learned partial products or lattice multiplication when I was in school. But I will tell you, the reason why I'm showing the students how to do this and why I would like them to master this method is to understand the fundamental principles of multiplication, which is the distributive property. The more complex multiplication, we use the distributive property. And as you can see, we've distributed the multiplication across all the place values. So that, in a nutshell, is partial products. Hopefully this video has been helpful. Please check out my other video on lattice multiplication. And I will be using the same problem, and hopefully you will see the connection between the two. Have a great day.